Which chapter is this? I don't know if this thing tells me the yeah. So I was in rollback. The book is divided in different parts. I don't know if people see this, make it bigger. um I didn't see there was part. Okay, so there's a part one. I was looking at that. The first one is around um Kubernetes primitive, but the chapter two is where it starts like installing a cluster. um that it says like the things that you need to know when you install the cluster. For the exam, these things may be already installed, apt, like the certificates and curl and this stuff, but you may need to, the things that you may need to install is like kubeadm and the right version of kubeadm. So it shows that part here. Helm should be already installed in the Linux system, so you don't have to install like not to install that. um let me see. That chapter two was around installing with kubeadm. Also shows people how to do minikube, which I thought it was interesting. But this is the part that maybe you take an exam to practice of like using the command apt hold. I think it's hold apt mark, so you can hold the version, um, and then to on hold when you're trying to upgrade the version of Kubernetes. And then run the commands to when you run kubeadm, like you can see here. It tells you the token, and then when you go to the nodes, then you run the join the kubeadm with the join command. That's the process to install. So I think it's a good summary in here, and I saw that the author had the instructions on that. Managing Kubernetes clusters. Yeah, I think this is the chapter that talks about updating, which basically you have to update the kubelet right to the right version. Um, I think that's what you need to do, like know about drain versus cordon and the process to do that. So that's etcd also is a topic that comes in the exam. On terms of etcd, it's you need to know like how it works, how to back it up. I think I saw her, the author, putting information here. He talks about how to connect with the TLS certificates. kubeadm takes care about like the certificates. There's even a command to see the certificates that are in the system. For kubeadm, the only thing that I would say that maybe people will forget is you have to set the version of etcd explicitly, like that variable called etcdctl underscore API 3 that you see on the bottom right. If you forget to do that, then the CLI will use the API maybe 4, version 4. So you have to put this version because kubeadm would start with version 3. So you can set it with a export environment variable, and then you'll be good for the exam. But something that is tricky to remember, right? If you don't know. And yeah, etcd and these things like that. Then this chapter is around like knowing how the pod works. That a pod is composed, can have unique containers. It can has, well, now it has sidecar containers. I don't know if that will be tested in the exam or not, but it's good to know um, that they're new since a recent version of Kubernetes, so that they might include it. Usually, it was like running 2 containers and either sharing local storage. And one example is the logs, right? One container puts logs in a folder, and then the other one reads the logs from that folder. And it's a typical scenario where if old apps used to write logs to a file and not to standard output. So the pattern was to add another container and then to extract the logs. And there's other patterns like proxy patterns like Envoy. So folks know how the sidecar containers work?
It's native now, right?
It's native, and they are what they're unique containers. The way they implemented it is an unique container, but you tell it not to go to complete, right? Leave it running, and then it will continue running. So that's how they implemented the sidecar container. It's not another section like in the pod. You have unique containers and you put an array, and you put containers and put an array. The sidecar container is an unique container, but then you tell it like, do not assume that it's not going to be shut down. It's going to continue running, and then continue to load the next containers. So it was interesting how they figured out how to do that in a way that it was not disruptive or like adding another like field. So they reused any containers. Yeah, so this one is I think this one is same content or similar content as the CKAD, right? These are the type of things that you need to know if you're taking the CKAD, of how to create a deployment, how to create the
Yeah.
containers, how
This
to
is
roll
basically
back,
the dev
scaling
side to
their,
it. Yeah.
yeah, replicas, like the scale command that you get. So this is like similar as the CKAD. So if you already have the CKAD, that's sometimes why people take the CKAD first and then they take the CKA. Some people, suggest to take the CKA, and it depends on your role. So like, what are you doing with Kubernetes? If you're like installing them or just using them, CKA, like I said, like that first part of like learning the kube ADM, learning the etcd, that's the part that it's not in the CKAD. And then the section also, you'll be tested with um, different type of volumes that you can set up in a pod, right? A volume to a empty dir, to a volume to a secret or a config map, or a volume to a CSI through a CSI, like a PVC type of thing. Also projected volumes. It looks like it uses the downward API, so that might also be asked in the exam. And then this is what I was talking about, persistent. This is the part that I like from the book, that the diagrams are colorful and easy to understand. I really like them. That I was talking about at the beginning.
Also, I think I really like the explanations. Like it's just quite enough to cover the concepts that you have to actually take the exercises or the examples.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, similar as other books, but I think this one has more explanations that we've seen other books. Let me see. I think I saw maybe it's part of a maybe it's at the end of a part, not a chapter, where the author had like scenarios. I'm trying to look for that. That's what I'm looking for. So this is the PVC.
Yeah, there are scenarios.
Yeah. So yeah, scenarios. I think I saw another one that was more extensive of, but this one is provision a pod called pack storage pod, assigned an available PV to this pod. You can find all the scenario solution in the appendix, mock CNX best practices. So this one's kind of tricky, right? Because it's give me a PV and it told me a pod. I need to figure out like how to create the PVC and then how to put the volume in the pod to be used. So she has that there. So yeah, it's at the end of the chapter. I saw a scenario like this. I think other books have more questions, but I think it's just questions. But let me see. Let's take a look at the appendix, and then we can move on to Killer Coda to look at it. I don't know if I can click. Can I double click on it? Here it is. Okay. So actually, this appendix is good, right? For reviewing for the exam. The first one is about kubeadm, right? It tells you to update. It deals with kubeadm, managing Kubernetes cluster. This one's is still kubeadm.
Maybe it could be good to see the outputs of some of these commands so that you know you're actually
Yeah.
on the right track, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, but yeah, these scenarios they look simple enough that you can even do in kind or minikube. I think she put instructions on how to set it up.
Mm-hmm.
Does it
Um,
have like a killer code playground or
the book, no, the book is the book, right? So you have to do
find
this,
yourself?
but yeah, but I think I was
Maybe
telling
there
Sevi
is a
that
GitHub
today.
repository. I don't know.
I didn't see a GitHub repository. So it's in the book.
Right.
Um, so yeah, let's do.
Yeah, the first one was having two virtual machines and installing kubeadm, and I think adding the second one as a node to the control plane in the book. So I didn't have time to spin up the virtual machines. So instead, I went to Killer Coda, as
Yeah, I was
Clive
playing with
said.
Killer Coda
Yeah.
also. I'm looking at some of the scenarios there.
Yeah, but Killer Coda is not responding now
Oh, really?
because
I was
it's
trying to use it.
free and I'm not on the subscription. Yeah.
Intentionally I did it yesterday. And I got I think 1 hour. I think you get 1 hour like consensually, and then you have to restart. And then
Really?
you may get an hour later.
No, it's just
But yeah,
not.
you
It's
can.
saying I'm on the queue and yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I get to the queue also.
There
Or I
is
need to
another
purchase.
website which I can share here from
Oh, yeah.
Ivan. Probably you know it. He's from the Netherlands, by the way.
Oh, can you say the name again?
Ivan.
Oh,
Ivan.
Ivan. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He has a bunch
Yeah.
of it's Aximisius. I
Yeah.
cannot pronounce the
That's his
website.
Nice.
Yeah, let me
GitHub
copy
username.
that because he has some sandboxes. Even to you can get a Linux box. Let me
And
put
you
that.
can there are ones with more than one node.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that one
nice.
is. Yeah, I think I signed up with my GitHub account, and I don't think does. He has CKA test
No,
cases
he has
tutorials.
playgrounds. I don't know. See, I didn't check everything because he has a lot. But yeah, in the playground he has quite a few a lot.
Yeah, like he has a K3S playgrounds under
Playgrounds,
playgrounds.
yes. Yes.
I see. So yeah, this is another place where you can get uh Kubernetes up, or just Linux if you want, just right Ubuntu,
And
and
install
then
your
practice
KubeADM.
the installation of those things.
Hmm.
So let's test Killer Coda today to see if it works for me. Or so it looks like there's three sections on Killer Coda. One from Kim, which is the owner of the website, and also like one of the authors for the CKS. He has a good CKS. When I took the CKS, I took his course, and he put it in YouTube now. It's in YouTube for free. The Sanchit HR, and then Chad, our member from the book club. So I was thinking we try Chad's one.
Oh,
Let me
yeah,
see if
makes sense.
works.
I didn't know he had his, but you have already done some. Maybe I have
Yeah,
already
I did
seen
some
it.
last night, like kubelet status. This one was kind of tricky. I didn't remember the command systemctl list unit files. And then yeah, I think I left it there because I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it today to see the answers. So let me see this one. So this one is
Oh, you didn't queue it up.
now I
Get
have
queued up.
60 minutes, 1 hour. Um, let's start. So I think this one is very small.
Get Kubelet status. Nice.
Can you see it now? If you're seeing here, well, if you
Yeah.
have access to the thing, it says the status of the kubelet service running on the Kubernetes node, and output the result of the file in this directory here. So it's this systemctl. Sometimes people run systemctl and doesn't work. In this case, in this system, I'm root, so that will work. But in the exam, you may not be root, so you have to add the sudo system ctl, right? And then status kubelet, and that you should get the status there, and that's how you also like restart it. If you want to restart kubelet, you can restart kubelet, or you can stop it. You can stop kubelet, and then you get the status, and it stopped, and that's why stuff doesn't get scheduled. Um, so when I stop the kubelet, when I do kubectl nodes, what happens?
Because you're trying to connect to the Kube API server, which is different from the kubelet.
And why does it say ready?
Because it's the Kube server, right? Kube ADM, the Kube server, right? Kube API. If you,
No,
I don't know,
that
if you
that
try to
ready
curl,
that
if you
ready
try to curl
status
the
is
Kube,
not the Kube API server.
right? All right, okay.
That ready is the kubelet. The
Ah,
thing is, it takes a little bit of time for the Kube API server to ping the kubelet to see if it's alive. And if it's not alive, then we'll switch to not ready. And it's not
okay.
ready. So I did it on purpose. So but yeah, that's why a lot of people think that the kubelet is the one also checking, but the Kube API also checks. But the Kube API, the kubelet needs to also ping the Kube API server and X amount of time, like report its status, right? So if it's going to if it's down or something for whatever, or it has trouble, right? Or it's cordon, like it's not shut down, but it's cordon. Like that's basically it goes. It says cordon. But yeah, if you start it again, kubelet. And this is something also misperception. Like if when you use a managed Kubernetes provided by a cloud provider, people think that they don't have to do these type of things or learn about the node or kubelet, and that's wrong. The provider will give you a control plane, but the nodes are your responsibility. You are the one that needs to manage the kubelet, and you are the one that needs to patch the servers and the workers. So some people have a misperceptions like, oh, like take everything like for me. So that's usually misperception.
But most of the time, you don't have access to the nodes.
I don't
Right?
have access to fix that. Is their servers, right, that they want to run? Okay, so that was an easy one. Let me see. Create a pod declarative using kubectl command line to create YAML for a pod declarative, which there's so many. I don't, in practice, I don't think people do this by hand, but in practice, people should know like the spec and then figure out what is the fields and how to find this field and do inspect and things like that. So it says using kubectl. I call it who calls it kubectl? I maybe, or who calls it kubectl?
I call it kubectl.
Oh my God, Sebi, you're one of those.
Am I old? What
No,
does
I
it
don't
mean?
know. Maybe I'm the old one.
It takes forever to say CTL.
I don't know. I always like call it CTL. So
yeah, I get this sometimes though. What's cutl?
I use K. At least in my thing, I use K. I don't use anything else. And then also in exam, you can use K, but I'll use K. It says create a YAML file.
Can I ask a question, by the way? It's been a while I've been onto this portal. What is the exam desktop there? What does it do? There is a little exam desktop right on top of control plane text on your terminal.
So I think this one is
simulates the exam.
If you pay for the $10 a month. It simulates an Ubuntu image. You logs in. It's a VNC server, and you can. I think I pay for at the beginning of the year. I pay for 3 months. I think 4 or 5 months, and I play with it.
Yeah.
And I think I showed it in one of the sessions here
with Chad, right?
Yeah. So this exercise says that you need to create a YAML file for a pod, named pod, that uses the image nginx. Save the YAML file as a chapter1 pod.yaml. Use kubectl run command and dry run. And this is just a hint, right? So the thing is, it used to be a time where if you did a K run, it was going to create a deployment. and then from a certain version of Kubernetes up, krun only creates a pod. That sometimes you will find some documentation online that krun creates a deployment, but no longer. So krun will give you like one pod, which in practice, I think no one creates a pod YAML. You always go through a
Not
like
at all
a
useful. I don't know
deployment
why
or a
they
stateful
keep
set.
it. Yeah.
So I usually do the create deployment command, and that will give me enough YAML to create a deployment. But in this case, it's asking to create one pod, so we'll create it. And if I do krun and I give it the name of the pod is pod, right, and the image is nginx, and I think if not, I would say I don't know if the exam, maybe it will be in the doc, but I think the exam has K and kubectl configured with autocomplete. That's something that that if I'm taking last time I was taking the exam, I spent my 1 minute to set up Vim, to set up my autocomplete and everything, because set up autocomplete and then you don't have to worry about the flags. But if you don't know the flags, right, you do krun -- help and you can see the flags here. But if you're doing autocomplete, you can do krun pod -- I image nginx, but I don't want to create the pod, right? So I need
You
to do
want
a
to dry run.
dry run, but dry run now requires a parameter. You cannot just run dry run. So it's client is equals client, or you can do server side. And then I want the if I run this, would I get the YAML out or not?
Yeah, not into,
Does
but
show YAML maybe?
you need to put it into a file.
So if I didn't put
Oh,
YAML doesn't give me the YAML, right? I need to put what?
minus O YAML or something.
Yeah, minus O YAML. And then that will give me the YAML, right? And then you put it into a file called chapter 1
yeah.
pod.yaml. And I misspelled it. Hey, and that's it. You finish your homework. I think that was
When
it.
you said about the shortcuts and commands and autocomplete, there is a really nice tip I didn't think about in the book. Bookmarking cheat sheet, for example, very early on, right when you're setting up your environment.
Yep. Yeah. So this
in
is
the
what
docs, because you can access the docs, but it's always taking a time even to find
yeah.
the cheat sheet, right?
Yeah. So
But
I think they're saying about autocomplete and K last time I heard. But if you want to know like this stuff, right, just use autocomplete. And then if you're using bash versus CSH, right, you can run something like this, and then do the alias for K to set it up. But yeah, we got that done. Next one. How confident are you guys feeling now? So the next one is, let's see if it comes up. It says using kubectl tool lists all the services created in your Kubernetes cluster across all namespaces. Save the output of the command to a file name this thing. So to get service, and I think Chap put this in the beginning. And one useful command is API resources. API resources. A lot of people ask me like, what is the? Sometimes you can put the whole word called deployment, but you can also put deploy, right? And you can put pods, or you can put PO, or you can put network policies, or you can put netpol. So this one has the short names, and API resources is the list that gives you the API resource, the short names. Also has the namespace if a resource is namespaced or is a global resource, right? True or false. And also people ask me like, how do you know what do you put in API version? So this is what you put in API version. These are the API versions available. I think the latest one, V1. So that command is very useful to learn. So going back to the exercise, it says list of the service. So usually instead of k gets, I can spell service, but I do SVC, right? The short one. That will give me the one in the current namespace. What will give me what flag will give me the services across all namespaces? Anyone? I want to list the services across all namespaces.
-A.
Minus capital
Minus
A.
A? Like that? Or is
No,
it capital
it's
A?
minus
Uppercase A.
minus all namespaces, all hyphen namespaces.
Yeah. So I'm very lazy, so I use capital A.
Okay.
So yeah, capital A is the one that I use. So you do k pods, right? Capital A, k get roles, capital A. So it's capital A. And then put it into a file like this. I think that's the ask. And then that's it. I think that's the solution. There you go. Good.
How do you get all the objects from control plane and service plane?
What do you mean?
Like,
dash A. K get whatever you want. Dash
no, I
A.
want all objects, not.
Gets all dash A. So there was something like that.
Does it
get
get it from control plane too?
There's no command to get
No, you can't get everything.
So you would do get service, pod, deploy, right? And then you need to put all the types. There's no command to get all. If you want to do all because you want to backup, I usually tell people use Valero. And you Valero, and then it copies everything, all the YAML files into a folder or S3 bucket, and then you can put it back.
Means it's there in etcd database, right?
Yeah,
So
it's there in etcd database. Yes.
then why can't we just get it from API server?
There's no command.
There are plugins, but not native commands.
Yeah, not native commands. Yeah, get all doesn't give you all objects. It gives you like a basic list. Yeah. The Sevi is correct. You can do get all dash A, and it give you like the most important objects, but not everything. Good question, Satish. But yeah, the answer to that is you have to list the types, or do something like Verdero, or Sif said like a kubectl plugin from Crew. That's a good tip.
Oh, what is the plugin?
There is one called Kubelet, I think. Let me get it. I don't know if it is still
around.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the next one is list.
Get all this one. No.
It's the plugin.
Yeah, but it's not really up to date. I don't know if it still works or not.
Yeah, or you can write a little like 2-liner Python script or JavaScript and talk to the API server and
go to.
But you have to build. Yeah, you have to build the API. So anyway, this one says list pods and IP addresses. So get output of the pods running in the kube system namespace and show the pod IP addresses. Save the output of the command line to a file called pod IP output. So the trick to get IP addresses is using the flag what?
White.
White.
Oh, white. Oh, like.
White. So that type of output that you want. And he's saying in the namespace kube system, which I love, autocomplete. So that's how you get the IP address. Like if you want to see it, like that. Also, people, if you don't know, you can also do get nodes dash o wide, and this will give you the IP address of the node. And a quick way, the node IP address, right? That's the node IP address. And then usually what I do those two commands is to find which pods are in which node. Usually I use these two commands to look through all the pods in the system and grab for that that IP address. Or the node name, not the IP address, but the node name. So I think that was the command, right? Kubesystem get PO -o wide. So we got that done. What else? Chat puts to, I don't know, but these are easy ones, at least for us, right? Next one is a CLI tool that allows you to view the client certificate that Kubelet uses to authenticate
To the Kubernetes API.
to the Kubernetes API, output the results to a file kubelet config.txt. So it once used the CLI tool
OpenSSL maybe.
that will allow you to view the client certificate that Kubelet uses to authenticate.
Can't you
to
just
the-
do kubelet get token or something? No,
Yeah.
it's a client.
So it's a kubeadm command
Really?
that it has certs in here,
Oh,
I think.
Yeah,
So I
it's
may be incorrect. This is recorded. I don't mind to be incorrect, right? That's a good thing. I do certs, and then I do search. Usually I use search for no like check if there's experimentations. I think this is what I use it for, right? And then these are the API server and things like this. But for Kubelet, it should be in the PKI. I don't know why I need to do a CL. I don't know what it's asking for, because the client certificate for the Kubelet is located where? In Etsy, right?
under varlib or var something, right?
The varlib is the config.
I think the varlib PKI, no? I don't.
PKI is here. So
but this is our.
this is this is the certificate that we want. He wants this certificate. So I don't know. It's a cat. He wants. I don't know what he wants. Kubernetes, PKI.
Put it in
OpenSSL and check the no out something like that --
Yeah. So this will be the certificate. So if I want to know the text of it, right, I'll use OpenSSL with this certificate and then output text. Like that's what Saif is saying, right, Saif?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know I really don't know the question. So let's see the answer. So okay, so cat in the conf, that's, and then OpenSSL with the Kubelet PKI.
Yeah, that's
okay.
that one. Yeah,
So
because it's
Saif got it
client
correct.
server.
So this one is the API server connecting to the Kubelet.
This
and
is one
Saif
used by
got it
API.
correct. So the one is the way the Kubelet is configured, because Kubelet is a systemd service, right? Is under this one, PKI. So there's two PKI folders, right? The first one that I showed was API server certificates, Kubelet, to talk to etcd, to talk to Kubelet, right? And then the CA, right, is there. And then this one is the Kubelet one. But also he also added something, double checking, like this is the default place, but what if the person decides not to use the default place, right? So I think that's why he's saying to do a cat on Etsy Kubernetes kubelet.conf, and then this is at the bottom, right? This is let me try to explain. So this kubelet.conf is like a kube config for the kubelet. So the kubelet is like, think about it, like it's like a kube API client. So the kubelet is using a kube config type of file to connect to the API server. So the same kube config that you have in your home directory. So it has this format, right? I'm going to connect to a cluster. This is the CA data. That API server cluster is located here. And then the other sections are like the context, and then the authentication. And I'm going to the kubelet is going to authenticate using a client key and a client certificate. So it's actually this one, right? So that's how you know what you're looking for. So you're looking for grep client cert. You're looking for that line, and then that's the file that will have the certificate. And then, like Saif says, like the OpenSSL is the X509 in that file, and the output is dash text dash no out. And that's something that I don't use OpenSSL every day. So usually these are the type of things I review when I'm going to take the CKA exam. It's like, let me remember what are the OpenSSL commands, the 3 flags that I need to remember. So I think we can execute this. So yeah, that was the commands. So the question, yeah, with this feedback for, oh, thank you, Kaylin.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining. Yeah, the question should have been like a little bit more direction, right? But I think we got it wrong because we were looking in the wrong place. I've got it right. I didn't listen to him. I will listen next time. Next one, let me see. But at least we learned like there's 2 PKI folders, so easy to get confused, right? Create roles and role bindings. This is related to RBAC. So it says create a new role named SA Creator that would allow creating service accounts in the default namespaces. So that should be with kubectl create role, I think. Yeah. And there's a couple of examples, right, on how to create a role. But it says that we also need the permissions, right? So it needs to be like a verb should be create, I think. That allows you creating.
And you need to
and then resources
actually.
Is service accounts. And then what else? In the namespace, is there's a flag for namespace? I think there's a flag for namespace somewhere.
It's default namespace. You don't need to.
Oh, you have to. Oh, in which?
Do
then
you?
No, but because it's a role, we have to create the role in a namespace. So that's where the default comes in, and it's always good to
right.
put it there.
Okay, I misunderstood.
So it should be something like kubectl create role. I'm going to try without looking, right? And then the name, SA creator. Is it create or is it the verb is put?
Create.
Create role.
The verb.
Verb is
Get list. What's?
Can we get the verbs maybe?
Trying to remember.
Help.
Is it put? I know it's an HTTP put because HTTP doesn't have like create, right? Create is not a verb of HTTP, but
yeah.
But they might put create to make it easier. So let's try to see if we may get an error, right? That dash verb equals try put maybe, and maybe we get an error. Dash resources, resource equals service account, and then what else? In the namespace dash and default. I think this will get us an error. Put is not a standard resource verb.
Resource verb. Try create.
But
then.
warning, but
a warning, right?
Creating, but there is warning.
I hope that you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Right? It should put there. Get role, what we call it? SA creator dash o YAML. I think it put whatever string you give it, right? Give it a warning. So I think it's create. So let's create it with create.
But it might not be correct in the verification.
Yeah, delete service account SA creator. I don't know why it's not delete service account.
Delete row.
Role.
Okay, I need to put role. A role, not the SA. I got confused. SA creator. Let's create it with put. So yeah, I think right. Even an expert, I'm saying I'm an expert. This is recorded. Needs to practice these things for the exam, right? So it's great to have resources like this. So let's see the solution. Create verb create resource SA. I put the dash n namespace because I don't trust like the context. So yeah, that's the command.
Also, how about the namespace? Did we see the namespace?
Well, the namespace is in that is the place where the role gets created, right? So it should have, to be more correct, it should say -n default, right? Always put the namespace. I know this is a good practice.
No, I get it. I just was wondering if the solution had a namespace or not.
Let me check. It should not, because it's a role. Remember, like a role is only like in the context of where you're located.
Yeah.
So you should not have a namespace. When you create a cluster role, then you're at the outside, right? So you have to say, I'm allowed to do this thing on this namespace, service accounts in this namespace. So it created a -o YAML, right? So it has the verb, the resources. API group is empty because service account is not part of it's V1. Yeah, everything's fine. There's one more. Let's see. Oh wait, there was more stuff in here. Wait. Also, so let's finish this one then. Says create a role binding SA creator binding that binds the thing that we created, and apply a user named Sandra in the default namespace. Verify that you can create services accounts as Sandra user auth can I. So we have to create a role binding. So is k create role binding -- help. And some of the examples is create a role binding with the name. We have the name. It's not a cluster role, it's a role, right? As a creator. And you want to create the role binding with the user, Sandra. It should not be part of a group, but it's just user, I think. And I think that's it. Is that what it is? There's nothing else, right?
Looks like it. Yeah.
So if we do create role binding, the binding name is, let me copy. Oh, nice. You click on this stuff, it gives you the thing that binds the -- role equals. I was hoping to
creator.
no autocomplete here. So sad. SA creator.
Yeah.
And then -- user equals Sandra with
Sandra.
capital S.
Yeah. In default.
And I think we're in the default namespace, so should be okay. Okay, so it got created. So if we do get cluster role, we get role binding, right? So it says that the role reference is this one. That's correct. And the subject is kind is user and name is Sandra. That should be it. And then when it says I can use auth, can I? And -- help. So it's a little utility to check, to impersonate kind of thing, right? So you have to say, I think you have something that says as.
As user.
Yeah. It's not as.
As system service account. Oh, that was long. Where's the user one?
Can I create? I think there was a as. Okay, yeah. So as here. So is Let me run the thing again. Can I? What she can do?
Create service account.
Create service accounts. Can I create service account -- as equals user?
User.
Sandra?
Yeah, Sandra.
Is that the command?
I think so.
Where's the as? I'm blind. This is a flag here, but -- as is that's why it's going to be confusing. -- as is not a flag for this specific command. It's a global flag. So you can do kubectl get pods as Sandra, kubectl like do the actual action as Sandra, if you want to test something. But in here is kind of like a testing tool. So let's see what happens. So it says no.
So maybe as Sandra only, without a user equal or something.
Yes.
Yes, nice.
It's confusing.
Wait, that's weird. Can you try capital U there?
Let me see what. Let's see the solution, and say create role binding, role SQL. I think we got that right, right? Then we saw the configuration. We got that right, and then auth can I create service account, create a service account in the namespace default as Sandra. So there's no user. So this service system, service account, dev, I think is when you want to use a service account as opposed as a user. So it looks like as
I want to believe capital U would work here at user.
capital U. Oh, 1 second.
Yeah, because
Oh my
that
God.
was how it was in the YAML.
Like that?
No, user and yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
It says
Oh,
no.
God. Okay.
Yeah. So dash help, right? Yeah, as I think it's like you do, for example, you do
Okay.
get pods, you can, and then as I think it's a global. I want to find the documentation for as. Yeah, I think it's a flag that is not well documented, right? Well documented in the CLI. Sorry for anyone working in kubectl. I think it's maybe documented in the docs, but something that I always get confused. I think it's because of this. Like if I specify a service account, I need to specify like service account, like how you authenticate in as a service account authenticate like that. A user is just the common name in the certificate, right? As you are like connecting as, and that's
So
basically
it
your name.
say in the documentation let me share, it's underneath the auth can I documentation.
It's a subcommand.
It says, yeah, it's an option and as only
Here is.
but yeah, username to impersonate for the operation. User could be a regular user or a service account in a namespace.
For example, here's the syntax, and give me an example.
Yeah. At the
Yes,
top, you can
welcome.
see the help output, the same thing though. Yeah.
But this option, am I blind? I didn't see this option in the output. Maybe it was there and I didn't see it. Now I lost my where's my thing? So I was looking at the output, right?
Because you did kubectl,
here,
you didn't do
right?
off. You didn't do off.
No, this one, the auth dash help, and I was looking for the dash as documentation. Yeah. So it's in the website, but it's not in the CLI.
Yeah.
PR's welcome. Somebody wants to write a one line of Go.
Now
go ahead, add the dash as in here. And put an example and add an example with a user.
We can project for you guys now. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're at a time. What do you guys think? You have fun learning? I learned a few things. Rusty in some areas.
Yeah, exactly. Same. Thanks for the session. I also still can't do open Killer Coda, which annoys me. I want to throw some money at the problem right now for next week.
Yeah, $10, and then you have it for a month. But so if you're planning to take the exam, I think it's worth. Like if somebody's going to take the exam, I think it's worth paying the $10 and going through all these exercises.
Also, folks, don't forget the exam is going to change on November 25th.
Yeah.
So if you want to take it, it could be a good time.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for
thank
joining.
You, everyone.
And thanks, Carlos. Lovely session.
Yeah. If you want to do it next time, you're welcome to drive it. It's fun.
Oh, next week I can't join. I would like to though. We also have Mélony. If
Mélony can also drive it. Yeah. Anyone is welcome to host and share their screen.
Next week I will be going to a concert.
Oh, nice. That's more fun. than being with a bunch of nerds talking about Kubernetes.
Well, I will be with another type of nerds probably. So,
Okay. Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
See you. Have
Thank
a
you so
great
much.
weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.